to have the bollocks.
Do you really want to go toe to toe with me on that?
You've completely, like, what are we doing here? Levy isn't going anywhere.
It's all down to timing, isn't it?
Welcome back to the Spurs 5. We've managed to make it from Monday to Thursday without shutting down the channel. Our run continues. We're still going. We're fighting fit. And what's even better is the Premier League is back, baby, because thank God, and did I personally need this, and I'm sure these guys beside me have missed it like mad. Welcome to Mr. Stelios tonight. Look, we've gone very formal. Welcome, Stel. How are you doing? Good.
Yeah, how you doing, everyone? Mr. Stelios is here.
Mr. Stelios, Mr. Lubin. How are you, Mr. Lubin? You good as well?
All good tonight. All good tonight. Can't wait. At last, the international fortnight's virtually over, and we're back to normal, aren't we?
We are. I hope so. Mr. Butler, hopefully is your internet working, unlike Lubo's? Can you talk? Yeah, good.
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good. I'm here. It's all working. Good to see you all. How are you doing, Summer?
Good. Yes, I'm very well, thank you. Having one of those days where I've got nothing on my hair, though. So this is why the hat is about. And no, you cannot buy these hats. But yes, I will get you one made if anyone does want one. Johnny, how are we doing? You're in a garage, right? How are you doing?
I'm on 4G thanks to BT coming around and cutting the cables. But I've had a lot of messages asking whether Lubo can go back to the bollock cam that he was shooting on the other day. It was very popular with one side of the community. And, if you want to bring it back, Lubo, be my guest. But it's great to be back. Only 2 more days. And we're back to football. Thank God, right? I feel like a crack addict without.
I agree. And if anyone is worried, I know out there's a massive game on tonight. I've got it on in the background, so I will keep everyone updated of the League One game between Huddersfield and Bolton. So don't worry. Watch us, and I'll keep you updated. And Huddersfield are winning 1-0 for anyone that cares, or if anyone supports either of those two teams. Guys, we have had news because it's never dull. It's never dull at Tottenham. Even when it's dull, it's not dull because something is happening. And this week, we have had this. Guys, we've had this. Look, we've got these two gentlemen. Look, he's doing his best Lubo Bollock cam impression there. Is Fabio Paratici trying to show us all his bits and pieces. Tottenham unveil a new men's football leadership structure. Who would like to start on this? Is this exciting? Is this just what we've had for the last however long? Now it's official. Gift wraps. There's a bow on it, and now it's got a title. Let me go, Johnny. Go on, Johnny. You start.
Honestly, I'm so buzzing for this. For me, this is what I've been waiting for a long, long time. Look, the thing is, Johan Lange has had a promotion. They need to do something. It's Thomas Frank's long-time buddy from their old days when he was teaching kids how to play football. And therefore, they got a very strong relationship. And rather than rocking the boat and forcing him out, he'll work in tandem with Fabio. But Fabio ultimately is the overseer of all the football. I think the thing is here, a lot of people are saying too many cooks spoil the broth. But I believe that there is so much going on now in football. I think he said himself, football, the director of football job has changed dramatically over the last 10, 15 years. Certainly since he was at Juventus. But you know what? Even at Juventus, he worked in conjunction with somebody else at Juve. It wasn't just him on his own. And since that time that he was on Juve, it's expanded. The role has expanded even greater. You've got the women's team. You've got performance. You've got medical. You've got scouting. You've got data. And I don't believe it's physically possible for one person to cover it all. Will they all agree on everything? I doubt it, but I would rather have an open debate rather than, the situation that was there before where Daniel employs top people, supposedly, not all of them, Scott Munn and others, to do a job and then decides to make the decision himself who should be coming to the club, who he should be buying and who he should be paying for. Ask Conte, ask other managers that have been at the club. They haven't always got what they wanted. And I think with Thomas Frank speaking and getting on so well with Vinay and the Don and Johan Lange, I think it can only be a good thing personally. And I think they spoke about how many different of infrastructures there are in football in general at various different clubs. But I was looking into it after I spoke to Sean earlier, and there are many clubs which have 2, 3, sort of heads working in conjunction. But for me, the Don is the man. He's the guy with the black book. He's the guy with the contacts. He's the man that can get shit over the line. He's the guy that recommended stuff to Daniel, who didn't always get stuff over the line. I'm not going to go into various players, but for me, it's what I've been waiting for a long, long time. I know what he did with the academy, and I think we are starting to see parts of that academy and how it's progressed from an Instagram academy full of kids who are saying I'm playing for Spurs and will never go on to do anything, to kids that might not all go on to play for England, but they will offer value to the club. Even if they don't play for the club, whether they're sold for 5 million, 10 million, 20 million, they all contribute to the coffers. I'm over the moon about it, personally. I think it's a good step for the club. And to be honest with you, the one thing I said about Vinay was that we would find, for the first time in years and years and years, that we would have someone who is in touch with the fan base, who understands what the fan base wants, and to have 4 of these little videos, or 3 or 4 videos that we've had in quick succession in such a short space of time, feeding us what we want, rather than that pathetic video that we used to get in the January transfer window when they roll out Johan Lange to give us a load of bollocks about how difficult the transfer window is and why we couldn't sign the people we wanted.
Well, look, let me come to Sean, just to let you know, I'm coming to you last, just because you and I did a video on this yesterday. So, Stel, Johnny's over the moon, and Spurs clearly wanted Paratici back, because for about 2 years, all I've bloody heard from this fan base is the Don, Fabio, he's coming back. He's back. Are you over the moon? Have you had a party at your household to celebrate Paratici's return?
About a party. Takes a lot for me to have a party. I think it's good that he's back, because out of all the football directors we've had since Mitchell, he's probably been the best one. He restructured our academy as well, and supposedly he's brought in a lot of promising youngsters. We've yet to see these promising youngsters play in the first team. That's a different conversation. That's out of Paratici's hands. That's not down to him. I'm not so sure what I think of Lange, if I'm honest with you. I liked it when it was Paratici and Gabbiadini. I kind of thought when Paratici left us that Gabbiadini would have stepped in. So I would have rather he come back and work with Paratici and Lange being there, because I'm on the fence with Lange. I really don't know what to make of him.
I agree.
Paratici, I'm happy. I think it's good that he's come back. And don't forget, our academy director was headhunted by Paratici. The reason Davies is in charge is because Paratici headhunted him when he was going to go to Burnley with Vincent Kompany. So, yeah, look, I'm happy he's back. I think it's a positive move. Paratici being back at Spurs is a positive, in my opinion.
All right. I mean, Lubo, just before we move on, first of all, you lot in the chat, smash the like button. I'm not doing what we did last week. Last week was utterly shambolic. Smash that like button, please, and subscribe if you haven't already. Subscribe to all the guys as well, even Football Inc. that channel that can't be mentioned. I'll mention that and that only at the moment. Please, Lubo.
10 minutes. It's 10 minutes.
Before we move on, Lubo, this is what we've been officially told is the remits, so that people don't think they're both doing the same thing. This is what we've been told the remits are, is that Johan Lange is going to be looking at the academy, the scouting, performance analysis, and football insights, whereas Fabio is transfer windows, players, and loan and pathways development. So I don't know what you make of that, but what I make of that is that it very much looks like Fabio is more your traditional director of football from a transfer perspective, which is really what most fans care about, right? They care who's doing the transfers.
Yeah, listen, I saw the 2 interviews was it yesterday when they came out? Absolutely delighted. You've got owners now who have knocked back three people that have shown interest in buying the club. They're saying they're sticking around now. They want to build up the club. They want to keep winning trophies. They're now building a structure at the club for the first time for a very, very long time. So up to now, we can't have any complaints. They're saying the right things. They're doing the right things. Whether it all come to fruition over the next 2 transfer windows, where all the fans are looking to see that ambition that they are promising. Actions speak louder than words. But until the transfer window opens in January, we've just got to judge them on their actions up to now. And so far, for me, I'm joining the old Butler mantra of Enoch in. So for me, it's Enoch in at the moment.
Can I ask you a question, Lubo? Can I ask you a question?
Jesus Christ.
I love this. I love this. So basically, everything that was wrong with our club was one man. It was all Daniel Levy. It was not Enoch. It was all Daniel Levy. Every signing, everything. I love it. Love it.
2 men. Joe Lewis, Daniel Levy. Now, hopefully, we've got the Lewis kids. It's all 60 plus kids who are there, who have actually realised, you know what, Dad's done a great job up to here, but we are now going to take it on to the next level. And that's what I'm hoping as a fan. The fact that they've actually knocked back 3 people that are interested in buying the club. They're saying we're not selling. Vinay's in. He's doing his stuff. They bought Paratici back. He will be the boss. There might be 2 co-sporting directors, but I think Paratici will probably cover. He'll carry more weight, I would have thought, with his experience and know-how. And no, really exciting times. Hopefully now the transfer window will carry on this positivity, and we'll see from there that we're going for the right players. Can't guarantee you always get the players you want, but
Luca, let me ask you that.
We're going to go on.
I want to ask you before I bring Sean in. There are those that are not completely enamored with Fabio Paratici, and there are those that are those that love him, and then you've got those that are on the fence. And I think that's the same of any manager, any player, anybody associated with a club. What would you say for those that have said, well, Paratici, he signed some good players, but he also signed a lot of duds, right? He didn't. If we're going to be fair, he didn't address in any of his windows. He really didn't address our forward area at all. What would you say? What's going to be different now? Because he didn't do it then. Why is it going to be different now?
Well, he sort of took a back seat when Ange came in, didn't he? And Lange came in. And up to then, Harry was at the club. The first 2 or 3 years, Paratici was at Spurs. Harry was there, and we had prime son. You could say, yes, there was no succession put in place. I would agree with that 100%. When we had 85, 86 million coming in for Kane, there should have been a striker lined up, even if it cost another 20 million on top of the Kane money, someone of a similar level to come straight in. It didn't happen. And it hasn't happened with Son either. Listen, everybody, no one gets it right. everybody looks at Ferguson in terms of Premier League terms. Ferguson has been the best manager for decades. I think you look at his trophy count, and I think we all agree with that. Ferguson bought Cleverson, Jemba, Massimo Taibi. They all of them get them wrong. They all get them wrong. And Paratici brought in Emerson Royale, to use, but hi Nick if you're watching.
Brian Hill,
so
Galini. I mean, I could go on. I think he's bought a lot of shit.
Yeah, I could go on as well. But I could tell you his good ones as well.
This is my worry. Just as I'll bring Sean in. This is my worry. And again, half of me, Sean, on this is, and this is my opinion. I'm not sitting on a fence. I'm not playing devil's advocate. This is my opinion. I don't mind Paratici. I've got no problem with him coming back to the club. But I do feel like there's a lot of revisionism from people that he bought a lot better players than he actually did. Because when you actually look through the list of players he's bought, who's he actually bought that you go, wow, top footballer?
Cuti Romero.
Okay.
Pedro Porro. Destiny Udogie.
Yeah, can't defend, but yeah.
Nicky Van de Ven. Vuskovic. Kulu. Bentancur.
Richarlison.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't know.
Are we calling Kulu and Bentancur players? I don't know.
Listen, let me tell you something. Elliot, let me tell you something. When they bought Kulu and Bentancur in at the depth of the transfer window, Spurs fans were up in arms. Who are these flipping dropouts? Can't even get in the Juventus team. Meanwhile, they had a massive impact on us in that last few months. They helped us get top four, right? Look, I suppose Bentancur is one that divides a lot of people. Personally, I think up until the point of his injury, I don't think there was any doubt at how class a player he was until he got that major injury. And whilst, he's not at that level, he's still been a useful player. And let's look at the prices. 17 million, 12 million for Papasar, 15 million for Destiny Udogie, 40 million for Cuti Romero. I mean, yes, he has got players wrong. Absolutely. But you show me anyone on the pitch, off the pitch, in business that's got it all right. They definitely haven't, and he definitely hasn't. But when I look at the squad now, when you look at the squad overall, there's still a large proportion of that squad, the base of that squad, which are the players that he's brought in. And as Ian just said, we have had 2 years where he's been sort of pushed away and out of it. And I remember people complaining about the Vuskovic deal. Why are we spending a record amount of money on a 16-year-old when we need money spent on the main team? I remember that very clearly. I think, look, the jury's out on some of the players. I think when a lot of people go on about the players, they forget how he managed to somehow convince Daniel Levy to stop pissing around with the wages that he was offering the academy kids who were on the verge of all leaving. The Romain Mundle saga when he left was the sort of catalyst for him to sort of wake up and say, look, they're all going to leave unless you start paying the money or equivalent of what they're getting in the academy. And that has arrested a lot of what happened. We had to go backwards to come forward. And I think he hasn't had enough credit for that because right now, when you look at it, we haven't seen tons of players coming through. But we would never have had a situation where we paid 2 million for Will Lancashire or buying players from Manchester, getting players in from Manchester City. So whilst on the surface, people look at the Galini, the Richarlison, and rightly so, and the Brian Gills, I think they need to look at the bigger picture overall.
The Chicken Royale.
And you cannot stay at Juventus for 10 years and be shit, right? It's as simple as that. You don't survive in Italy unless you're quality for 10 years.
I think, Johnny, I think what it is with Paratici, it's what I was alluding to. I don't think he's wow. He's just the best that we've had in recent times. And Since Mitchell, yeah. So to have him back just means at least there's going to be some level that we can expect. Look, for me, the work he did with our academy was really good. And we are going to see the fruits of it at some point. I remember I was saying about 2-3 years ago on Tottenham away that the current crop, you're not really going to see them break through, unfortunately. Where the academy director was really putting a lot of praise on was the current under 14s and under 12s at the time. They're now the under 17s and the under 15s. Well, guess who's in that crop? Williams Barnett. So that is the talent. Byfield. So these are the talent. Hopefully now we're going to see come through. And I do believe at some point Vuskovic will play for Spurs. I think he's doing too well on his loan deals to not feature at the club at some point. Or we're going to sell him for really good money, one of the two. But in terms of transfers for the first team, we're going to wait and see what he does. I do believe though we are spending more on transfers, individual transfers now than what we did under Paratici. I think the shackles have come off a bit, which should help.
He was limited, and that's one part. It's a very good point to make, Stel. You know, he did have his hands tied behind his back, and I'm not going to go into certain, but I know 2 transfers that he did recommend, which never came to fruition because Daniel didn't. This is what Sean and I were speaking about earlier on Spurs Talk Show. Was why would you employ somebody to do a job? He does his job. He presents the case for a certain player, and the guy who knows nothing about football, who sits on top, decides, no, I'm not spending that and I'm not doing that. And we've seen the upshot of it. And maybe now things are going to be different. I believe I'd rather take the positive road on all this to say that this is the start of something special. I feel a vibe that I haven't felt in a long, long time. It's been so much negativity around our club, even during the positive times. And I think that now, finally, there's something positive to grab onto.
Can I just say, Sean, thank you for your answer there that I asked you 5 minutes ago, and then the other 2 just completely answered. Absolutely amazing that was.
You're welcome, Sean. You're welcome.
Ventriloquism. It's a new skill. I'm trying to figure it out.
Sorry,
that's all good. It's all good. Look, for me, I mean, I want to reverse engineer this a little bit. I think that Johnny just sort of slapped one on Daniel Levy for tying the hands of Paratici. I think you also have to remember that Paratici was the next guy after the previous bozo who spent so much money on absolute dross. He spent. Let's not forget that we were sort of still licking our wounds from 42 bar dropped on Davinson Sanchez, 23 on Serge Aurier, 55 on Tanguy on Ndombele, 55 million on Lo Celso, 25 on Ryan Sessegnon, 27 on Steven Bergwijn, 15 on Matt Doherty, 11 on Joe Rodon. These were the recommendations of Steve Hitchin that Daniel Levy listened to, got the job done, and then Paratici, to his credit, had to then work within that remit of trying to get through that crap, getting rid of those, a lot of those players. So there's I want to sort of defend the honour of Daniel Levy a little bit in that regard, that Paratici was working with his hands tied behind his back. I'm not sure. I think the last time someone had their hands untied that Daniel Levy had trusted, he was let down massively by that guy, Steve Hitchens. So,
can I ask you just quickly, before you carry on, did Paratici buy Richarlison and Solanke?
Yeah. No, Solanke was under. Solanke was Paratici. No, the new guy.
No, it was Lange. He wanted him. It was Lange.
Solanke was under Lange.
Lange only start in October.
Yeah, no. Lange start. I've got the dates here.
Solanke joined in August or July.
Solanke was not Paratici.
Yeah, Johan Lange started in October 2023.
It was Ange, mate. That's all he spoke about. He said it in himself. He was the one he wanted. Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Johan Lange started in October 23. Solanke joined in 24, right?
He stated the fact all the way through that this is the guy that he wanted more than anybody. Same as he wanted Brenda Johnson. Listen, if you'd have put Steve Hitchin, imagine Steve Hitchin and Ange Postecoglou together. Could you imagine the damage those two would have done? Wow, talent ID.
Sorry for cutting you off, Sean. So I just wanted to check because
that's all right. No,
Sean,
no, right.
You take this on at the end. I want you to take this on at the end, Sean, because when I ask about it, my thing is all the list of names I get from Paratici. My worry is that this guy doesn't know attacking players. I don't see any good attacking players that this guy has signed to Tottenham Hotspur during his time.
I've got I'll show you now. If I'll share my screen. I've got the list up. This is from the show I did earlier with Johnny. Here's the entire list. There's a couple of things that are out of sync, but there's the entire list. We can go through it in a second. But just before you bring it up, just quickly, I just finished what I was saying about
sorry.
So about the Paratici and the Johan Lange kind of the dual citizenship thing we got going on here. The co inhabitants. Like I personally look, I'm happy that Paratici's back. I think he's the best that we've had for a long time, and I'm delighted that hopefully he can come in and steer the reins. This notion that there's so much to do now that you absolutely have to have two co-joint chairs of this particular division. I find it silly. The only other team that has two directors, if you like, or sporting directors is Chelsea. Everybody else has one guy that is the overarching captain of that particular side of them. They might have many layers beneath it. And maybe we're splitting hairs on the fact that just because they're called co-joint, whatever, sporting directors, maybe they're not in reality and that one has more control over the other one. If I'm honest, though, it comes across to me like it was a very easy decision to make, or the easiest decision to make, but not necessarily the smartest one. Like I think it's short-term gain. Everyone goes into these environments when at the start of a project thinking, yeah, we'll work together, no problem. Yeah, what's good for the goose is good for the gander. I've got your back, you've got mine. You look after this side, I'll look after that side, and then all great. Within a very small and short space of time, egos are going to ego, like always in that sort of thing. People are going to want to take credit for the successes and they're going to want to point the finger for the failures. And that would be okay if there's absolutely no overlap. But there's so much overlap in the divisions of labour that have already been spelt out. One of them is responsible for the youth team. The other one's responsible for the loans of the youth team. Like, how's that going to work out, right? Like, if you've got a player that's Johan Lange has been studying and watching more closely than Paratici through the under 15s, 16s, 18s, 19s, 21s, whatever. And then they go, right, he's ready for a loan, but he's not ready for the first team yet. Over to you, Fabio. You find out, you go and find the place for that loan. And then the loan doesn't work out. Whose fault is it? Is it Fabio's fault for not picking the right club? Is it Johan's fault for suggesting he was more ahead of ahead or behind the certain development that, than the caliber of club that he was sent out to? What about when you have, if Paratici is responsible for the transfers, but Johan Lange's responsible for the scouting? So then what? So Fabio Paratici has to go and negotiate the deals for the players that Johan thinks are brilliant, but that Fabio might not? Does that infer then that Fabio might go, you know what, I don't really rate this guy that Johan's, that Lange has presented to me. I'm probably not going to work that hard on this negotiation. So hopefully it doesn't happen. So we can go to the second guy on the list that was actually my guy in the first place. It doesn't make any sense. It just seems like it's an easy option to say, we want Paratici back. We rate him. We know how valuable he is. With Daniel Levy out of the way, and there's a massive vacuum of responsibility that someone needs to handle with regards to the negotiations, someone that's convivial, someone that's got all of the energy, the relationships, yada, yada, yada. We'll bring back you, Fabio. But how do we do that in a way that's respectful to Johan Lange? Because he's obviously got some skill sets that we find that are worth keeping. He hasn't really done anything wrong, so he's not going to hang around, or he's going to feel disrespected if the naughty boy, like the guy on the naughty step that's been away for 2 years, is back in and he's promoted to be Johan's boss. That's not going to work out well or go down very well with Johan. That's going to cause friction. But is Paratici going to come back and play second fiddle to Johan? Absolutely not. So let's just call them the same, pay them the same, let them act like they're both in charge, and then give them a couple of divisions of the game each and think that it's all going to work out. I think it sounds great on paper, but I think within no amount of time at all, there'll be the first signs of friction when they have to have decisions around what particular path to pursue on any number of categories, and that they don't agree. And if they end up making a decision, what are they going to compromise? Are they going to sit there and say, well, I want this player who's more of a younger player that's brilliant going forward? Well, I think the priority happens to be something else. Well, let's meet in the middle and go for someone that neither of us particularly want, but there's like that way no one's losing. Or does it become you have this one, I'll get the next one, a 1-for-1? Like, that's not going to work out either. Then you've got the awkward relationship of like the situation with Thomas Frank. Does Thomas Frank know Paratici? How well does he know him? We definitely know that Johan Lange and Paratici are mates. Does that mean that Paratici is more likely to go and employ the guy Gabonini, Estelle said, who was his mate in the previous iteration, just so that there's no cliques and that there's no favoritism?
There's reports of that today, isn't there? There's reports of that today that
Gabonini, right?
He's trying to bring back. I like it. I think Stell calls him Gabbiadini, who I think played up front for Derby, if I'm not wrong.
I get everyone's names wrong.
In the 90s. Was it Marco? Was it Marco
Gabbiadini? Yeah.
Marco Gabbiadini. Listen, but Gabonini,
is he going to pick? Is he going to? Sorry, Johnny. What's it? Is he going to?
Let's
go?
Call him Gabby.
Gabby. Is he going to get Gabby in? One, because he wants his boy back, but two, because he knows that there's 4 people then that are going to be in the room that are discussing things, and then you might have like, I don't know what the word is, not popularity contests, but you might have tribalism, cliques, and people taking sides. Yeah, everyone's got a vote. Exactly. So like, I think that there's a reason why in most hierarchies, in most businesses, there's one guy at the top, and it's a pyramid structure generally, right? And then within the footballing side of our business, that's giant global business that incorporates so many different things. Within the football side, I would like to see an overarching pyramid where there's one guy at the top, whether that's, I think it should have been Paratici personally, no disrespect to Lang, but I don't rate him to the same degree as I rate Paratici. But I think that Vinay's taken the decision because it's a difficult decision to pick one, and it's a very complex one to fire one or to let one go. So you know what, we'll just give you both a bit and figure it out amongst yourselves, and they'll spin it as, 2 heads are better than one. I don't see it working in the long term.
Can I ask you, right? I just want to, because everyone seems to kind of have this same rhetoric when it comes to Lang, right? He's all right, don't really know what he does. Devil's advocate this time, this isn't me. Can we not say that Lang brought in Kudus, Paulinho, and Simmons?
Yeah, if you pull that list up now, Sav, there's the names on the.
I don't know.
There's a lot like this. I think the debate's worth having because there's a lot of. I took the first 5 guys, right? The last 5 guys, right? So scroll the way back up here. This was Baldini from 2013 to 2015.
Oh God.
I mean, his list was Lamella. This was the post Bale money. Lamella, Soldado, Paulinho, Ericsson, Nasser Chadli.
Ben Davies says it all.
Yeah, I mean, this wasn't great. He had a lot of money to spend.
Davis, please. A lot more respect. He's about to do his 25th season at the club. So can you just
Jesus Christ.
Captain of the Reading Club. So he had a lot of money to spend because he obviously got the Gareth Bale 86 million, and this was back when 86 was 100 million was quite a lot of money. And then he sold Dempsey, Huddlestone, Parker, Corker, Livermore, Luongo, Sigurdsson, Dawson, Sandro, Holtby, and Esso Costa.
Massimo Luongo, the Australian, yeah.
So then you got Paul Mitchell.
Yeah, there's some good.
Who on a value for money basis, Paul Mitchell picked some absolute classy ones, didn't he? Ali, Toby, Sonny, Trippier. I think we even actually ended up making money on Wimmer, if I'm not mistaken.
We sold him for 10 million.
Not Janssen, even Wanyama at 11 million was what we massively needed at the time, wasn't it? So
yeah,
correct. Yeah.
Only this one here, I don't remember him actually playing very many games. Nkunku
wasn't Nkudu. I like the way they've called him Nkunku. Wasn't Nkudu the one that was locked in? Wasn't there something about him being in a hotel room for like 5 days or something? Does anyone remember that?
I don't remember that.
No? Okay, just me. My silly brain. All right. Someone in the chat, anyone else remember? I feel like he was hauled up in a hotel room for some time. I don't know why.
But he also managed to get 10 bar for Paulinho when China was like, I think I said it earlier, it's like China were playing like Saudi Arabia from Wish when they were faking it with their money, their access to some sort of stars for a couple of years, weren't they? They fizzled out.
Hang on, he got 13 million for Ryan Mason.
He went to Hull.
Yeah, for 13 million. According to Grok, I don't know if it's all.
Grok does invent a few things. I mean, earlier Semenyo was in the list of
Johan Lange. Yeah. No, I was saying forward quickly that this is Johan Lange, October 23 to present. The last player that he signed is Semenyo.
I'll tell you what, if Johan Lange gets Semenyo for 30 million, he can keep his job and we get rid of Paratici.
He get a promotion, isn't it? He get a promotion. Can I just say, talking about people don't have joint co-directors of football. In 2015, Brentford appointed Phil Gills and Rasmus Andersen. And they've been there.
Gill was in charge, and Anderson was very much his deputy.
They were co-directors, and at Juventus, Paratici was there with, I think it was Marotta, and there's other examples in Italy currently now at Sampdoria and other clubs where they've got dual directors of football. So it's not a new thing. What they did say, the two of them, when they were in that meeting and they were all sat there, that there are lots of different models that they looked at as structure of a football club. And this is the structure that they decided that they were going to operate on. So, but it's not unusual, Sean, right? And the thing is,
it's very rare, Johnny. Sorry, I disagree. It's not unique. It's not unique, but it is rare.
No, it's become more popular due to the fact of the rise of the women's game and data and all the rest of it. But I would say that Gabonini, when he was the director of football for the nutty Italian boys at Watford and Udinese, he run both clubs, director of football at the same time. No mean feat in itself. So personally, if Gabby did come back, I would be more than happy. And also he brought in Scalding, who's the only player, the only person that's left there. Steinson's gone and he went to Rangers. But Scalding is still there playing an integral part of the club development, loans and stuff. And he's well respected in the club and he runs a different department. So there are lots of different players that play, different people there who are playing big parts in the club. And I do agree with Sean. Lots of overlap.
Johnny, though, you're saying there's 6 players there, people there, but there's always 99% of the time, there's always one overarching boss.
Yeah, which will be, it will be Vinay, but under Vinay, running the football is the Don, for sure. That he ain't coming back.
I hope so. But just quickly, I just want to ask you guys this, right? Can we just do a little bit of a comparison? So I think we can all agree that Steve Hitchin was an absolute bozo that wasted a lot of money, right? Yeah, but
killed us.
Forget about Paul Mitchell. Let's just have a look at in terms of players that they've signed. Would you this Romero, Galini, Hill, Sarr, Royale, Kulu, Bentancur, Ritchie, Bissouma, Perisic, Foster, Udogi, Spence, Longley, Danjuma, and Porro? How does that compare with
Vuskovic?
And
Vuskovic. There's no Vicario.
I don't know why he's not on the list. But Vuskovic hasn't done anything in a Tottenham shirt, has he yet?
There's Vicario. There's Mickey van der Ven.
Vicario's been allocated to the Johan Lange segment.
That's not right. Anyway.
Yeah, but look. Either way, I listen, guys. I feel like Paratici brought in some good players. I'll stand by it. When I look at the list of players Paratici's brought in, my worry is in those attacking areas. Now, the saving grace for me is I think Thomas Frank knows a good forward, so I'm comfortable with that. But for me, that would be the one thing that I'm looking at with Paratici. I think Paratici buys safe players. I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I think a lot of that list for Paratici is safe. When I look at Kulu, Bentancur, I don't go, wow. I'm like, yeah, they're good players. They're good players. They do a job. Both, by the way, I feel will be upgraded, or I think Kulu already has been. I think Bentancur will be. So, listen, the jury's out for me, and not in a negative way, not in a, oh my God, I can't believe Paratici's back, but I sit on that camp of 50-50 for me. I think he did a decent job, but nothing that gets me excited.
I'm with you. Like, so I generally think that people, you mentioned earlier about the, like the sort of tribalism that exists within the Paratici thing. I think it always happens in football generally. I think there's people that are going to have their sort of stances on a specific take, and then people are going to back it, and they're going to cherry pick. They're going to remind you of all of the, if you like the person, if you like the topic in general, you're going to remind everyone all of the success stories and try to wash over the mistakes. And if you don't like someone or you don't like the topic, you're going to remind everybody of the mistakes and none of the successes. It happened with Daniel Levy. It will certainly happen with Paratici. It will happen with Johan Lange. And I think it will happen with, I'm sure it happens in all football clubs. But I think you're right, Sav. I agree with you. I think that for those people that love him, I think he's overrated. And those people that think he was a con man and just an absolute shambles, I think they're massively undervaluing the areas that he improved as well. He's certainly sort of overseen a trajectory that's moved in the right direction with player transfers.
I just think, and I'd love to bring Lubo into this, I just think when I look at what we've been left with in centre midfield and what we're left with up top, I don't see what he did in those areas. If we're saying Porro was his, fine. But basically what we're doing is we're saying the back four is his, right? Porro, Udogie, Van de Ven and Romero. If we're saying that back four is his, absolutely fine. I then look at the midfield. Paulinho's not his, as far as we know, right? Bergvall, Gray, these kids haven't done anything really yet. Bentancur is okay. Kudus isn't his. The rest of the forwards are poor. So I feel like there's got to be a balancing act here, like you just said there, Sean. I think he's done some good, but I think a lot of it needs to be decided. Lubo, is that fair, or am I being harsh on him? Has he put some good forwards in that I'm missing?
There's been successes, there's been failures, and there have been a few that we're still waiting to see. It's a real mix. For me, both. It's been a real mix. I think with Lange, I think last season, I'm not talking about the window we've just had, which I think was the best window in terms of the quality of players that we brought in, not in terms of how many we should have bought, but I think the players we got, I think we all agree were quality players. And it'll be interesting to see how Sakai comes in and how he looks as well. But
that can't be right, Lubo. That can't be right, can it? Sorry, just quickly, that can't be right. Didn't Van de Ven sign before Lange joined the football club?
Yeah,
he did, didn't he? Yeah. Sorry, sold sniper. One thing I'm really keen we don't do, let's not rewrite history. We can't have players being signed by people who weren't at the club when they were bought. I feel like that's a dangerous place to be.
Van de Ven and Vicario, and if you can put in Dragusin as Fabio's as well. No, that was.
I'm saying Dragusin.
Dragusin falls under the time period where Lange was in charge, but Paratici was on secondment. But you could probably also make the argument that the relationship came from Juventus, and so probably Paratici, whilst he was on a consultancy role, was probably the guy that was championing that.
He consulted the whole deal. He's been friendly with the parents. He's been friendly with the parents, right? The parents are Olympic athletes. He's known them for years. He was the guy that brought him as a kid to Juventus. So he has a long-standing relationship with him. And he was the guy that managed to make the deal happen when Bayern Munich were coming in for him and to swing the deal. But the deal would have been done ultimately by Johan Lange. But the provider of that deal, the facilitator, was Paratici.
I think, you look at Lange last year, for me, I thought Bergvall at 8.5 million is probably the best deal we've done. Personally, I think we'll look back in 2 years' time and think that's the best deal pound for pound we've done since Dele Alli. And I think Lange's, talking about the money that you're paying, Seth, I think that's where I'm coming from. In terms of
what's he done?
Maybe Vuskovic.
So far tonight, we talk about Bergvall and Vuskovic as though these boys have done something, and as of yet, they haven't done anything. Like I'm a bit confused how quickly we put them in. Oh, look at that signing when they've not done anything really in a Spurs shirt.
On that basis, is it too early to judge Johan Lange at all? Because how long are you supposed to give players before you can judge them?
Well, it depends, because if they're coming in as a senior pro and ready to go, like look at Kudus. Kudus come in I don't need to see Kudus anymore. I know he's a top signing.
Yeah, but Bergvall wasn't supposed to be first team regular, probably, right?
I agree, but which is why I'm not judging. I say this every week about Bergvall. This is why I don't judge. I know some of these guys like to put them on this pedestal. I'm not judging him yet.
No, I hear that. But the point I'm making is that if the remit for what Bergvall was supposed to be has been expedited and accelerated, and he hasn't exactly flopped as a first teamer, then if you're going to judge, and I think it's always premature to judge a director of football, in the moment, because these things take time, especially with young players. But the fact that Bergvall has sort of sink or swim time, well, he's definitely swum, right? He's definitely not embarrassed himself on that basis. Then, because of his age, because of the cost, that would you could put that in the back bracket of a successful signing, even though he might not have done. He hasn't had a lot of time to do anything massive, but he was a contributing part of our Europa League campaign at 18 years old. He's maintained a relatively good amount of minutes so far, which is probably well ahead of anyone's expectation. Therefore, if you're going to put it in the pro column or the con column in terms of a successful signing relative to how much time he's had to prove himself, I think you should probably say it's a good one. It's a successful one.
Sure. So then why is
exactly what I meant?
Yeah.
Okay, so why is Lange talked about so badly then? Because if we're gonna do this, then look at the players he signed this window. Everyone raves about Bergvall. People lose their mind about Gray. People are telling me how good Vuskovic is going to be. Like yada. So
I think everyone's over the moon with Well, everyone's over the moon with Xavi Simons, right? He hasn't done anything yet, but everyone's over the moon that we signed a player of that caliber. Is that one Johan Lange's? I think you have to put it in that column. Whether or not it was necessarily, all him and who else was involved, we don't know. But if we're just doing it on a simplistic, players that were signed under someone's tenure, then I think that Johan Lange, for as little time as he's had, like 2 years, then and 3 months in terms of the players that have come in recently, you should be reflecting on Johan Lange fairly positively, I think.
That was the question I was asking you, right? Again, as a host, I'm sitting on the fence on this, Sean. Is so far what I hear from everyone is Lange, and it's all very doom and gloom while Paratici just gets praise. But then when you mention, this is why I did it, when I mention the players Lange brought in, they get praise. So I'm just slightly confused, Sean, with the hate. No, that's not the right
I'm
word.
with you. I'm with you. I think people overestimate. Yeah, I agree.
Right. If you're going to rate Gray, if you're going to rate Bergvall, if you're going to rate Simons and Kudus and Paulinho, right, people like Solanke, then surely you have to look at Johan Lange and go, well, hasn't he done a bloody good job? Like, I don't know. I'm just...
Apart from maybe the fact that I think you can make the argument that maybe he didn't sign and we didn't get a left winger, right? Like you said, Savile, for the last few months, maybe the players that we didn't sign is also on him as much as the players that we did.
Of course. Listen, this is why for me, and Lubo, I'll come back to you in one sec. This is why for me, I look at the good and bad of directors of football, because I think you made the point earlier in the show, or someone did, no director of football you're ever going to look at their list and go, oh my God, they've got 100% success rate. It's just It's not going to happen. But Lubo, Lange is you love all the players Lange bought in, don't you? You about all of Lange's signings. So surely Lange's a great director of football.
When you look at who he's brought in this summer, if we're breaking it down under, as Sean said, which players are coming in under which director of football's tenure, then the perception of Lange has got to improve and 100%. Got to be better than it was 12 months ago.
100%.
Because of the players like Paulinho and Kudus that have come in and have just, they've been our best two players for me this season.
Sure.
So they
what about the ones that got
improved.
Away?
Sorry, Johnny?
What about the ones that got away? Who are we blaming for Morgan
Johnny,
Gibbs?
you're doing now the inverse, Johnny, of what you were saying to my stream earlier. People always want to remind you.
Call him out. Call him out.
Johnny, how can you blame Lange for the?
I didn't blame Lange. No. I didn't say that. I said who is to blame. I didn't say he's to blame. I said who is to blame.
The answer's going to be Daniel Levy, isn't it?
Well, who is to blame for Eze? Well, I know who's to blame for Eze. I know who's to blame for
Arteta.
as we know, I can't blame Levy, and I'll reiterate again. And I said this at the
can't
time.
blame Levy. He was debating. Listen,
Not for
Levy
Morgan
was
Gibbs White. Not for Morgan Gibbs White.
Not for Morgan. What,
I
you're
think-
not blaming?
and
Wait, you're not blaming who?
I think. Listen, Gibbs White's wife was in a precarious position with her pregnancy. He didn't need any more stress. He didn't want her risking problems with the pregnancy either, and he went for quite life. He went for quite life, didn't he?
Yes,
So,
Mr.
you know,
Marinakis.
and you can't blame him. At the end of the day, his wife with a pregnant baby come first.
So Lubo, so we're not blaming Lange or Levy for Gibbs White. Is that yes or no? Yeah, we're not blaming them.
We're not. No, I blame Levy for Eze. Forget.
And what?
See, I don't even blame Levy. I don't blame Levy. I don't blame Levy for Eze. I don't blame Levy for Eze in any way, shape, or form. And I don't blame any of them for Savio, who wasn't available. So this window, who can we blame? Lange? You know the game I'm playing right now, guys. Whether or not you I think you will know what I'm doing here. Who are we blaming Lange and Levy for this summer?
Well, for not finding a replacement, if you couldn't get Savio, if you couldn't get Eze, if you couldn't get for not finding somebody else.
I completely agree. Can we blame him at the risk of covering old ground? I see Johnny's going to hate this. I don't blame Daniel Levy for not signing Paratici Eze. I don't blame Levy or Lange or any of them.
No, I blame Jeff.
Where is Jeff?
Yeah, but couldn't we could have got Eze years ago, even last year. We fluffed around with that deal. We could have got him before Arsenal.
That's a shoulda, woulda, coulda thing, isn't it? Like, you can always make that argument. You could have signed Ronaldo before he left Sporting or wherever he was.
No, but we're talking about a player that was.
No, but we had Eze in a private corporate box at Spurs last season. Well, you know, his agent was there.
Still, what I've heard, old ITK, what I've heard though, is that Arsenal had asked to be kept informed throughout the whole thing. And this is the whole thing with transfers. As much as you always think they're done, clubs will have intermediaries asking to be kept informed. And as soon as look at it, it was the day Spurs had an offer accepted or reached an offer, whatever terminology they used, Arsenal, same day, bang, offer goes in.
On top of that, there's actually commentary.
Yeah, but I'm talking about we could have got him last year.
Hang on. There's commentary out there, though, that when he was about to join Tottenham and he phoned up Arteta the night before he was going to sign for Tottenham, and Arteta said, "Don't worry," as in, like, we'll figure it out tomorrow. It's going to get done. So that same conversation might have happened a week earlier had Tottenham paid the money earlier.
With Brennan Johnson, please don't make me play with Richarlison. Come and get
those quotes, Johnny. You're making out like that's bollocks, but there's literally quotes out there.
It is bollocks. It's fine. It is bollocks.
There's quotes from the horse's mouth.
So, Johnny, let me ask you, right? So you don't think in any way, shape, or form that Arsenal would have been asked to be kept updated, no matter how long it took Levy to find a deal? You don't think...
If Kyle Havertz had not been injured on that morning, he would have been a Spurs player. Yeah.
Ifs, buts, and maybes, right?
But he didn't. You asked the question, and I'm just telling you. And Spurs hadn't. Spurs had not.
Arteta, Johnny, and Arteta said, "Don't worry," as in, like, you're going to be an Arsenal player, boy. Don't worry about it. He didn't want to come to Tottenham.
Sorry, Jeff.
Chris Ramsey recommended Eze to us, and Chris Ramsey, obviously ex-Spurs youth coach, who's at QPR now, he developed Eze. He recommended to us years ago. We ignored it. Last season we could have got Eze. We didn't jump on it. We waited until the worst time where we're going head to head with Arsenal.
Stel,
who can you blame that on?
Can I just ask? I'm going to drop this in. And Johnny, do you know the best thing with Johnny, right? He doesn't even have to say words. His facial expressions give everything away. It's absolutely brilliant. What I heard, right, Stel, what I heard was that we could have had him the year before, but that it was Ange that said no to the possibility of buying Eze. That's what I've heard. Johnny's giving me facial. Yeah.
Why would Ange say no to Eze?
Can I just say one thing?
Your guy, your manager, Stel. Your manager ruined the Eze deal.
So he said I don't buy that.
He's not an Ange player, is he? He's a maverick.
Listen, and let me tell you, when he left Millwall, when Eze left Millwall, my friend and his son literally begged Chris Ramsey to take him to QPR, right? Beg him, right? And it was because he used to be in the academy and they had a relationship that he took him, right? And him and Les Ferdinand. And, it turned out to be the best thing, right? That he ever did. I always believed that one day he would be a Spurs player, but he was right. And he was not top of Ange's list. He was not. There were other players.
Neither was a DM, Johnny, right? Neither was a DM. That entire 2-year period, the one thing we needed more than anything else was a DM to solidify that back line. And Ange didn't want that either. Your manager.
Hang on, Sean. No, sorry, Sean, you're massively wrong there.
My European trophy winning manager.
Yeah, but Sean, sorry, you're massively wrong. You can't buy a DM to solidify a backline when you've got a manager that doesn't have a backline. Can you? You can't. You've got to have a backline to solidify it.
Should have had a backline first. Yeah.
Listen, I don't believe this, because if there's one thing Ange did, it was attack. Right? He's going to say no to an attacking player. If it was a defensive mid, I'd agree with you. If it was another centre back, I'd agree with you. But an attacking player of his level, I don't think he'd say no to that.
They all worked hard. Eze is not your traditional off the ball guy. Eze's a maverick, right? Eze is like, do you remember those flower plant things?
He scores goals, he creates goals.
Remember you made a noise and that flower started dancing. Does anyone remember those? Yeah. That's Eze. That's what mavericks like Eze do. When the ball comes near them, they spring into life.
To sell them.
yeah, but there you go. Look,
we said no to him. We said no to Eze when he was before Ange came to the club as well.
Him, didn't he? I think David Pleat. I'm pretty sure.
Pleat, Chris Ramsey. We
went to Palace.
The point I'm trying to make is,
why
did we wait until this season to say, right, now we'll go for him when he's expensive, hot property, everyone's talking about him, he's just won a trophy. It was crazy.
My mate tried to sell him to Daniel, and Dougie Freeman didn't even have to wait. He jumped in, paid the money, just like he did with Adam Walton, while everyone else was fucking around and talking about it. Dougie Freeman went in and did the business, just like he did with Elise, just like he did with Walton, just like he did with many other players. Dougie Freeman is probably the most underrated director of football in football, and he didn't fuck around. And
he must have some failures as well, though, Johnny. Like, are we doing that? We're doing the same thing here. We're cherry picking the wins.
He bought a boy from Brazil that was meant to be pretty good and hasn't done it.
But Franca, right?
Yeah,
Franca, yeah.
Who was very good in Brazil.
On the main, the players that he bought. So, like, I'm guessing he was responsible for Munoz and Decore and Lacroix and Richards. On the main, when you look at
Lacroix, Lacroix was actually what's name's idea. He wanted to sell Al Anderson and bought in Lacroix from Wolfsburg. That was Oliver Glasner's choice to do that. It was a player that he had identified, but he went out.
He was Mickey's partner, wasn't he? He was Mickey van der Ven's partner at Wolfsburg, wasn't he?
Correct. Yeah, he's played at Wolfsburg and good player, very good player.
Very good defender, that boy. He'll get a big move. Anyway, we've kind of gone off track. If you don't mind, guys, I'm going to do some super chats and then we'll move on. All in all, I guess the same as anything. As my mum used to say, the proof of the pudding is going to be in the eating. And we're going to see, has anything changed? We will find out, not just in January. I feel like a lot of people in my show earlier going, I give them just January. I'm like, whoa, hang on. January, summer. Let's see what happens. But let's see. Are the kids interesting in success? Are Paratici and Lange going to be best mates? Is it all going to come crashing down? We'll find out. But look, let's do some super chats. First of all, big up to Andy Lester. Big up to you, Andy, a member of my channel as well. He's become a member here tonight. Big up to you, my man. Thank you very much We really appreciate your generosity, Andy, and thank you for everything you do on my channel as well. Big up to you. Big up to Sunil32. I said, evening. Hope you and those close to you are well. Yes, I am well. Those close to me, it depends if we're talking computer screen. I think these lot are well. If we're talking people in the house, I believe my wife is well. We'll get her on screen in a minute and ask her, see how she's doing. Big up to you, Sunil. Hope you are well. And thank you for your generosity. Big up to Dean Law, always starting that bloody choo-choo super sticker train. Thank you very much, Dean. Really appreciate you, buddy. Thank you very much for everything you do. Big up to Blaine. Blaine. Can you buy Spurs? You've got loads of money, mate. Says, I see this like Wolf of Wall Street. The blue chips, Paratici, the pink sheets, and the penny stock brasses. Do we see Lange as a penny stock or better?
When do we throw the midgets?
Oh, gosh. Big up, Blaine.
Little
Great
people,
film,
Johnny. They're called little people.
Little people. Oh, sorry, yes.
Come on. Big up to you. Thanks, Blaine. And if that wasn't enough, he's given 5 memberships as well. Thank you very much, Blaine. We all appreciate you. Everyone talks about how generous you are. So thank you very much, buddy. What I will ask before we move on for the last half of the show, guys and girls, there's 698 of you, just under 700, only 189 likes. So 500 of you have not smashed that button. Surely we can get that to 500 tonight. That's 308 of you now to press that button. Come on, people. And if you haven't subscribed, please do. It does mean a lot. And we've just lost Sean. We've lost Sean. No.
There he is. No, we've lost
Phil. I'm just taking my top off. I didn't want to expose my belly to 700 people.
There you go.
Sparing you all that
So
horrible
big up to each and every
You're
one.
like Diana Ross. Sean, you're
Luke.
like Diana Ross. She used to change outfits during her show as well.
Why is he wearing a red top?
It's not red, it's magenta.
Lubo,
So
that was a
it's
massive
magenta.
Lubo,
Magenta
Lubo,
shade.
that was a massive sneeze, mate. I'd just check your shoes if I was you.
You guys know, right, how many times I said, right, I've got to stream now. I've got to go and start. And I'll be wearing like a purple hoodie or a dark red T-shirt or a jumper. And I think to myself, if I go on screen, it doesn't matter how far away it is from Arsenal red. All people are going to say to me is, oh, you wear red clothes.
It's hard work. It's really hard work being a Tottenham fan when you're basically not allowed. I'm pretty sure red's one of the primary colours, right? So you're not allowed access. You can't engage with one of the 3 main colours in society just because of your allegiance to the football club. It's hard bloody work. Very hard work.
Madness.
But
The number of times I have to change.
It's not. It's not considered. That's the thing. It's not one of 3 because there's 2 others. The third one doesn't get considered, mate. That's how it works.
Sometimes it's like when we're over talking each other, the third one doesn't get considered.
Do you know what? One of my dogs was in one of my videos the other day, and he's got a little red harness, which has got a little red light on it. And the first thing somebody said in one of my videos was, can't believe you got a red harness for your dog. I was, it's a fucking dog. He's a dog. He doesn't support football. Anyway, let's move on, guys. By the way, since I asked, only 20 extra likes. Come on, people. This is shocking. 211 likes, 700 people. Absolutely dreadful. Please smash that button for us. Guys, Aston Villa at home. If you don't believe me, look, I wrote it down. Look, Aston Villa at home. My Aston Villa, Sean. My Aston Villa.
I'll come to you
this time.
I'm coming for you. I'm coming for you.
Aston Villa at home. Started the season, I think, four games without scoring, without getting any points, without scoring. They're now 7 unbeaten, 4 wins in a row. We're 7 unbeaten as well. We're not playing that well at home after an international break. Where's this game going? What are you expecting from this game?
You're asking me?
Yes, your name is Sean.
I think a tough game against your lot. I think that if Ollie Watkins is out, then that gives us a bit of a boon in our chances. I think generally he's difficult, and he Villa traditionally, last season's Villa obviously create create chances wherever they go. They were always very, very good on the road. And but actually saying that, their form was better at home, wasn't it? My mistake.
What the hell?
What is that?
My Aston Villa or your Aston Villa? You've got your own channel.
Oh my God. Who did that? That's hilarious.
How many channels do you have, Sean?
Yes, Sean's got a channel for every club.
6 at the moment. Yeah, 6 channels. More channels than a spiritualist. I think look, for me, I think the game with Aston Villa, it's always, for me, it's a midfield tussle. I really want to see. I think we need to go strong. We need to have Polinia, and on this one, I think we absolutely need to have Bentancur, because I think that he's the more physical 8 of the 3. Even though I still make the argument that we need someone else in there, because people like John McGinn always fly under the radar. No one gives Johnny McGinn the credit that he deserves. What a player! He's got thighs like tree trunk. Yeah, you're number 8. Yeah, or 6. I don't know, 6, 8, whatever he is. And obviously Morgan Rogers as well. If he's floating around in front of them, then he's going to be the danger man. But I think Tottenham have got enough in our tanks. I think we've got away with any kind of injuries from the international break, apart from Bissouma and Ben Davies, who weren't probably going to start anyway. So look, I think that international break the curse was broken last week as well. At least the front side of the international break curse was broken. I'm expecting goals. I expect a tough game. Still, if you want to take your note right now, I'll say I'm going to go for an absolute gangbusters 3-2 victory to Tottenham, but could go either way. I think there'll be some contentiousness. I think that there's a little bit of spiciness. The Villa-Tottenham game, because of what Matty Cash has done to Matt Doherty and to Bentancur in the last couple of years, he's like a sort of
Polish
villain.
right back.
Your Polish right back. He's a nasty little git. Thinks he's Jack Grealish from Wish. Nasty piece of work, but I think that it's going to be spicy, and I'm looking forward to it. I think it's going to be a really cracking game and a real test as well. And if Tottenham can come through the victors, then obviously it keeps us in a really strong position in the league. It takes 3 points. It's a 3-point gap created against a team that, look, for the first 4 games of the season, they couldn't score. They weren't looking their best, but they're starting to grind into results now because they're playing in the Europa League, and you've got Unai Emery doing what he does there. That momentum that they've created there seems to be rolling over back into the league. Tough game, but like I say, I think there's going to be goals. There's going to be a lot of yellow cards in the game. Wouldn't be surprised if there's a red card in the game as well. But yeah, I'm also looking forward to hopefully seeing Tottenham maybe get some minutes later on to players that we're looking to see if they get a couple of minutes into their legs, like a Kolo Muani. For me, though, I think that the team pretty much picks itself. I don't really want to see Richarlison. I think that you have to reward this. I know I don't want to get back into the Matthias Tell and Odegaard sort of debate about how good or bad they are or whatever, but I think that you need to reward Matthias Tell's somewhat little bit of a step up in form. I think you have to keep Odegaard. There you go. I think you basically just nailed it, mate. That's exactly my team, 100%. Odegaard on the left, Bentancur, Simmons, Kudus, Udogie, Van der Ven, Romero, Porro. Yeah, 100%. That's my team. Spot on. You're on mute.
That's
Nick.
your
You're on
team
mute.
started at least, isn't it?
Yeah. So let me come to you, Lubo. Let me ask, because the reason this is the team I picked earlier for the game, and I know that we're always going to have the whole, what about this guy midfield, that guy, that guy, that guy. I think Sean hit the nail on the head earlier when he said what Aston Villa are good at. Their midfield is strong. They have a very strong midfield, whether it's McGinn, Kamara, Onana, Tielemans, even that young boy, is it Bogard that they've got in there? He's a feisty little worker as well. And I think that we're gonna have to, again, when people say, oh, you can't play Bentancur and Paulinho at home, I think you've got to. I think you've got to try and match them physically. And these two, for me, Lubo, I know you want to see your boy Gray and Bergvall playing there, but these two are disciplined. They will keep the shape. Yeah. They will make sure that the midfield is a midfield and that they don't just run up the field at every opportunity. What are you saying about that?
I think that, listen, I agree with that team. I think the team played well at Leeds. I think the same 11 deserves to start. Villa are no mugs. They're both unbeaten in 7. My personal opinion is they'll both be unbeaten in 8. I think it's one of those that, when I said first half of this season, there's going to be, you're looking at results, and sometimes sometimes you can't jump forward every single time. Sometimes you hold fire, you play a tough game, you make sure you don't lose, you keep the unbeaten run going. And it's at the moment, it's putting bricks down, it's building foundations. And I think that this will be a very hard game. I think personally, they're two very evenly matched sides at the moment. And I foresee a draw. Personally, I think it will help, obviously, if Watkins is out. I think Mings is out as well long term, isn't he? I believe. I think Mings is injured.
Well, no, Tyrone Mings is meant to be back, I think. So they're saying Tyrone Mings and
let's have a look.
I think it's good. I think it's going to be an interesting game. I think it'll be a draw. I genuinely think it will be a draw. I think it'll be one of these. I think we're coming into a difficult period, and I honestly think we're going to draw quite a few games because we are difficult to beat. Our strength is at the back, not at the front. We're not scoring many goals. Villa aren't scoring many goals. Personally, I see a 1-1 draw here. So I think I've
just checked.
I think we're going to draw. I think we're going to draw a few over the next weeks as well. I think we're coming into a run of draws here, possibly.
Well, Luba, I've just checked, and apparently Buendia's out, Mings is out, and Tielemans is out as well. And then Sancho and Watkins are questionable. I don't know how true that is. That's just off a. I don't know. Well,
Onana, they're saying Onana, who was out, who's just came back from the last game, is expected to play. It will be a big asset. Tielemans is definitely out. But the fact that Watkins looks like he's going to be okay and Onana's going to be there. Listen, it's going to be a battle in midfield. And I reckon you're 100% spot on that we're going to need Paulinho and Bentancur in the middle of the park. We need the experience and we need some aggression. Huh?
I'm not really I'm not really bothered who's out for Villa because Wolves hadn't won a game all season and then they rocked up at Algaff, and I've got a bit of a worry with not just under Frank, just since we've moved into this stadium. It's not the fortress it was meant to be in the league. And our home record this season in the league, okay, we haven't played loads of games. It hasn't been good in terms of performance. And I agree with Luba. I think we're going to draw this because I think we've got an issue at home. I don't know what the issue is at home because on the road, we look quite good. At Man City, we were excellent. At Brighton, we deserved to win it, even though we were 2-0 down. Against Leeds, we deserved to win it. On the road, we're completely different to at home. And I think at home, we've got an issue. And I think Villa's got the fourth best joint best defence in the league, but they're terrible up front. I think I agree with Luba. I think this is a draw. I think 1-1. I think it's going to. I think it's another draw.
2-2 still.
To Johan Lange.
Johan Lange, yeah. Levy is a late sub. Listen, look. I think the thing is with this goes back a long, long way. I think the Burnley win was our first win in one of, I can't remember how many games it is, going back 16, 17 games. I can't remember how many games we've actually won. It's probably one of the worst home records in the league.
Isn't it 3-7? It's 3-17, isn't it, Johnny?
Yeah. Something like that. Yeah, it's absolutely abysmal. And I think, Vinay needs to maybe have some words with the fan liaison groups and try to change what is a stale atmosphere at the ground. It's nowhere near what used to be Fortress White Hart Lane. Even on a good night, it's nowhere near it. And as soon as we go one down or something happens, it turns into a mortuary. I think that the fact that we've got this positivity running through the club gives us half a chance. But I still think we're going to win the game. I don't know why, because we struggle against Villa. But I think it's going to be a nasty game. And I think retribution on Cash might be delivered by one Cuti Romero, who never forgets. And neither does Bentancur. Yeah.
Yeah, see, I'll be honest. I'm not bothered by that because I don't want to see Romero or Bentancur getting themselves sent off or anything like that.
I want to see a feisty. I want to see the feist because we're going to need that in the middle of the park.
Feistiness infects the fan base just as much. Johnny, do you know? I was reading an article about this. Do you know there's like some sort of movement in most? I'm not sure if it's everywhere, but it's certain teams in Germany, but a lot of teams in Eastern Europe. The club takes like 5% or like a few pennies from every pint that's sold and then hands it over to the fan engagement, like the TIFO people, that sort of thing, to be able to work with different ways to be able to engage the atmosphere. But the TIFOs at Tottenham are great. I completely 100% echo you, mate. It doesn't matter whether we go, even when we go 1-0 up, the atmosphere still stinks. Like when we're 1-0 up against, or Doncaster, 1-0 up, 2-0 up, it was still like a library. You go 1-0 down and you get the tuts and the huffs and the moans and the boos. And if it's 0-0 at half time, you get squeaky bum time. There really is very little in the way of energy coming from the fans. And all of the stuff beforehand, the trumpet player and the tifos, that's great beforehand, but you need something to keep the guys motivated during the game.
We need an anthem.
Do you think
we need an anthem? We need shit. We need something going on.
It's the football, guys. I think if the team is a good team on the pitch like we had under Poch, every game we were just, because we knew that team was just special. And I think it's going to take time until you've got a team that just looks just.
I'd like to see tifos the size that Newcastle have as well. I think you look at that and that draping down all the stands. I think it'll be brilliant.
All of that stuff, though, Lubo. Like,
no one gives a shit once the whistle blows for kick off.
All the stuff beforehand is superb, but to me, like, I don't know, like we seem to be very good at putting on a concert. Like, why don't we like allow there to be a band playing during the actual game? Like, have an electric guitarist singing like, you know, Bon Jovi halfway there or something at half time. I don't know.
Look at the drums. Like all the way through the ground, right? Remember in the World Cup,
brass band in,
all the way through. Yeah.
Where's the Spurs drummer? We used to have a Spurs drummer.
Yeah, but he used to say the word, and that's why it was banned.
No, but that drum that used to happen in White Hart Lane was like half the size of one of the corner stands. It was absolutely massive. The one that they've replaced him with is like a little. Like he can sort of just put it in his pocket after the show.
Barry Bongo. I mean, what's that going to do?
Barry Bongo.
They need a giant. They need like an orchestra band that's playing songs, that's driving the sound. I mean, you go to Germany, right? Look, we've all been there. You go to the away games. There's some 3 or 4 maniacs, right, who aren't even watching the game. They're turning around to watch the fans and they're conducting fans. And that's all they do, right? They drive.
Why don't you and Lubo practice what you preach? Get your tops off, get a drum and just start going bloody batshit crazy.
Listen. It's an idea. Can you imagine like the drum playing up a tier in the West? What do you think they would say?
Oh my God!
We'll wake them up.
No,
turn the noise down.
Yeah, in the East Premium, if you shout out anything like controversial, they turn around, they all look at you like God knows what. You're all right in the South Stand, anything goes. But listen, it's a look. I hate to admit it, but whenever you used to go to Arsenal, the atmosphere was absolutely shambolic, 10 times worse than what we've got now. But somehow or other, you know, that song that I can't bear, and the atmosphere has changed dramatically there. But they've done something about it, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, but they've got a title. They've got a title challenging team. They smell they can win a title, so I think that helps. Do you know another thing I've noticed with Spurs as well? That stadium, it's a bit soulless. You know, when we played Arsenal, when Conte beat them 3-0, I will never forget that atmosphere. Oh, that was out of this. That was before the game outside, after the game outside. It was electric.
At that stadium.
But that was a big game. It was which North London club's going to get Champions League. That was the decider. So there was a lot on that game. Whereas at the moment, it's almost like, well, what are we really playing for at the moment? And also, there's a lot of fans in that stadium that they just want a day out kind of thing. You know, it's nice to get out of the house kind of thing. Whereas the old stadium, a lot more fans were, I don't want to say diehard, but they were a bit more, what's the word? A bit more, Tottenham meant a lot more to them than just a day out. It was kind of all they've got, I think, for a lot of fans. But fans have changed. Fans have changed as well. We're very corporate fans now. It's comfortable. It's a comfortable stadium now, isn't it?
Yeah, but no one's isn't this the problem now with a lot of these brand new grounds? It's all well and good that it's more revenue and concerts and boxing that, but when you're there, whenever I've been to the Tottenham Stadium, nothing about it screams intimidation for the away team. It all feels nice. Do you know what I mean? Like everyone I know has gone there. Oh, ain't your stadium nice? Oh, how lovely is the bar and the seats, and what happened to the sticking them in that little corner where they've got no electricity and they've got no Wi-Fi, and give them the crappy beer and give them a bagel instead of a burger, you know,
that's exactly what should do. If you go to Newcastle, you're stuck up in the gods, right? We go to Spurs, or Liverpool. Liverpool's not as bad, but Spurs, we give them a prime pitch. You can hear their fans. Yeah. They're louder than our fans. You know, it's no good.
We need to be, Johnny. We need to be. I mean, for me, the best 3 grounds I went to last season for atmosphere away games were Newcastle, Liverpool, and Forest. We need to be in that.
Lubo, that's a complete lie. Lubo. Why are you just missing out the game you and I went to together at Brisbane Road?
That was top.
What's a cracking atmosphere that night in East London? Come on, that was a banging night.
That was good. That was good.
I love Liverpool. I love Liverpool.
Oh, you are.
The hairs.
No. Sad came down to watch Donnelly and Keeley. Full marks to him.
Purely go to watch Jamie Donnelly, just so you know.
Yeah, he did. He can't admit it. Yeah, he was wearing a Keeley shirt underneath.
I'll tell you what's going to be interesting, Johnny. We're going to Everton next Sunday. Because Goodison Park was a really old-fashioned ground, wasn't it? And the atmosphere,
great atmosphere.
They got that was really good as well. It's going to be interesting to see if what is it, 53,000 the Hill Dickinson ground,
James Dickinson Stadium. Imagine your stadium being called the Tavistock Group Stadium. No comment.
Is it Hill Dickinson or Dickinson? Hill Dickinson. And they're a law firm, right?
Yeah, almost as bad as the Select car leasing arena in Reading.
The best one. I couldn't even fit it in.
There's some superb
stadiums. Mate, when you've got fans sitting in the South Stand before the match having Asian fusion noodles, gourmet pizzas, and all right, what do you think? What do you think's going to happen? You know. Against Chelsea,
there must be a way. There must be a way. All of the pre-game stuff, the fight before the game against Wolves. Was it Wolves the last one before the break? No, when we drew 1-1, I think it was. The pre-game there was like they had James, whatever his name is, James something like that.
Yeah, Black.
Yeah.
James Black outside the South Stand putting on a concert. It was amazing. It was really, really, really cool.
More of that. They're going to do more of that.
All of that stuff is like they could do as much of that as they want, but as soon as the whistle blows, everyone sits down, shuts up, and it doesn't matter. We'll score, we'll celebrate when we score, and then we sit down and we're 1-0. But there's no. I haven't seen the fans in 2 years really like. The energy only gets worse. If we're winning, it doesn't seem to get that much better. But if we're losing or drawing, it gets like it's sort of a sliding scale of how bad it gets. Like there must be a way that once the game starts, that the fans.
Bodo, hang on. Bodo last season was good.
Yeah, Bodo
was good.
That was the last time. Bodo at home
was brilliant.
To be fair, right?
We should have
Bodo was there.
Again, to be fair as well, if you're paying 50, 60, 70 quid to watch a game of football and you were watching Prime Son, Harry Kane, Modric, Bale, all these players, and suddenly you're watching, you know, a lot of what we're seeing now, other than Kudos, who really gets you off your seat? Other than Mohamed Kudus right now, who really gets you off your seat with enthusiasm? I don't think there's many players, and I think that probably plays into it as well. It's just, we need some more exciting players at Spurs.
What we need, look, first of all, the void has not been filled by the disappearance of the Koreans. No one's talking about the disappearance of the Koreans. And second of all, we could see that against Villarreal.
No one's talking about the Korean disappearance.
The disappearance.
Everyone said they were plastic fans, though. Everyone said they were part of the problem.
There's a documentary, right? What happened to the Korean Spurs fans, right? There should be a documentary.
No one's talking about this. I'm going to put a video out. Someone get me a thumbnail. The biggest story in Tottenham. No one's talking about the disappearing Korean fans.
We need a whole show dedicated to where are you now, right? Koreans. You can go outside the shop, the Spurs shop, and see what used to be.
I must tell you something. There are very few. And the other thing, Johnny.
Well, hang on. I've finished.
Johnny,
go on.
The other thing also, there were so many Korean fans that travelled away as well, and they're just not there this season. Listen,
Right, so
Yang will come through in a couple of years.
Sorry, are we saying the atmosphere's dropped off because we don't have Korean fans going to match?
No, I'm just saying they
can't be.
Where are we going with this conversation?
No one's filled the void. Well, I'm just about to tell you when the 10,000 seats were available for Doncaster, Villarreal, there were big gaps, right, where the tickets which would normally be sold were not sold, is what I'm saying, because they would buy any tickets, right? Next, you'll be seeing Korean chicken coming off the menu. That will be the next thing. But look,
but to be fair, Johnny, to be fair, mate, I actually had some Korean chicken. The last time I was at the stadium, I went and bought two or three. No, I was horrible, mate. It was the worst thing I've ever eaten in my entire life.
Oh, right.
I was like, gee whiz. I thought the burger was bad enough, but that Korean chicken was horrible. It was really.
I admit, I miss all this, right?
Korean chicken is actually excellent, like the real stuff.
Not in the stadium. Not in the stadium, it isn't.
Look, I'm off to Korea. I'm off to Korea in March, and I'm hoping there's still. My son was at Brazil versus Korea last week. While he was out there, he went to the stadium. He said half the Korean fans were in Spurs shirts, which is great, which is a great thing. But you don't see many of them at the stadium. But the truth of the matter is, we need to find a way where we can keep like a drum beat or some sort of atmosphere going. Is there a rule that you can't play music through the tannoy or a beat through the tannoy while the game's going?
I was actually going to say this to you, Johnny. Like, they actually have, like, I remember going to Ibiza when I was like in my 20s, and I went to a night by one of the famous DJs, and he obviously had his new song, right? His new song that he was releasing, and he played the same song like 10 times throughout the night. And every time he put it on, the first 4 times that it was played, everyone went mental. The crowd went mental. By about the 8th time, I was looking around and I'd still hear the crowd going mental, but I was looking around and everybody wasn't going mental. And it suddenly dawned on me that they're piping in crowd going mental noises into the song to make it look like. So I don't know whether you could do that. Could you like pump through the tannoy? So
plus the crowd in Ibiza, every single one of them was probably on a pill. Or some kind of narcotic.
Well, we could offer that. We could offer that facility. Pick up your pill and your program. Get your pill and program.
Pill and a pint for £10 special.
Pill and a pint special offer. Right. Paul Coy.
Could you imagine Lubo on an Ibiza pill?
So hang on, all the sponsors that are out there, we do not condone drug use or alcohol intake of any kind. Okay.
Oh, we said pill.
Lubo on a couple of pills. Someone walks up to him and says, "God, I like that Daniel Levy bloke." Just see what he says. Guys, let's move it away from pills. I don't believe that drugs are the issue to solving Spurs' stadium issues. Let's talk away from the Aston Villa game.
Painkillers.
We've got another international break. I hate to be the bearer of bad news. We've got another international break in November. And trust me, if anyone who does this for a living, it is the worst thing in the world, isn't it, Sean? the international break. It is a absolute killer. But we have 7 games between now and the international break. Now, if I'm not wrong, Lubo will know this off the top of his head. Those 7 games are Aston Villa at home, Monaco away, Everton away, Newcastle in the cup away, Chelsea in the league at home, Copenhagen in the Champions League at home, and then Man United in the league at home. Those 7 games, then a 2-week break. Then the game back after that international break is the little North London derby against Arsenal. Massive 7.
Followed by PSG. So it's really easy, isn't it?
So a massive 7 games, which is probably going to tell us a little bit more as to where we are this season, as opposed to the first, as to up until now. Is that fair to say, guys? Like the next 7, you've got some big games in there: Chelsea, Newcastle, Everton away, Villa at home, Man United. Some big games in there, right?
Are they going to implode, Sava? If we get a couple of defeats, are fans going to throw the toys out the pram? Because
they're waiting for it, Johnny.
Yeah,
no, but Johnny, there are fans. There are fans. If we lose to Aston Villa or don't beat Aston Villa on Sunday, it will be. I thought he was a coach. You're Thomas Frank. He's a fraud. He can't. I'm waiting for it, mate. I'm waiting for the first time he loses again. It will happen.
So am I. And I think, look, all I'm looking for is progression. I think at the beginning of the season, I said I expect to see many big bumps along the road. I expect us to get beaten. I expect us to get beaten badly sometimes. But as long as I can see like signs of player progression, players improving, whether it's Tell, whether it's Odegaard or whoever it is, or some cohesion and relationships forming, I'm quite happy for that to take place. You can't go, in my opinion, lose 22 games in a season and then flip a switch and suddenly, be top 3, top 4 without a problem. I'm expecting the bumps in the road, but as long as I feel like we were competing and we're causing trouble for teams, I'm quite happy. If we can produce a performance against the big teams, like we did when we performed against Paris Saint-Germain in that Super Cup, I'll be very happy. Even though we lost, and they imploded in those last few minutes, I felt quite proud of what we did in those games, in that game.
Well, we've got Chelsea at home and we've got Arsenal away in the next 7. So they're 2 massive games for us, aren't they? They're our 2 biggest derbies, aren't they?
Yeah.
Both very difficult.
Yeah. Very difficult.
Yeah, I think Chelsea. I know they're a bogey team and they always find a way, but I do think Chelsea at home. I do think we can get something from that. I do. Chelsea they're not quite there yet. They're not quite ticking. We can do something.
And
Arsenal away, I think,
with injuries at the back as well. I think they've got 4 of their 5, 6. They've got like 8 centre backs, but 4 of them are out injured. I don't know for how long. But yeah, if we can get a victory against,
back Russell.
Yeah, of course, I'm sure they will be. But if we can stay, there or thereabouts in the top 3 or 4 until those games, and then get 3 points against Chelsea, that would be such an unbelievable. Everyone would then put the Thomas Frank doubts, to bed, and that would be a real motivator, I think, for the fans to get past that one. And then Arsenal, I think it's just going to be too difficult personally, but.
Arsenal away, we got to hope for a draw.
The interesting thing, guys, when you look at the next 7 games as well, it's the fact that you've got 3 different competitions within those 7 games. So it's not like we're just playing 7 Premier League games back to back. It's one of those games could see us either go through in the cup or we're out of the cup, and then obviously that, like Johnny said just then, that causes another little mini meltdown, doesn't it? If we get knocked out, even though it's away at St James's Park, a very tough place to go, there'll be a meltdown. But there's games in there that we should be winning, and we can win, right? I don't think there's anyone where you look and you say, "Oh my gosh, they're amazing," right? I mean, I don't know if I'm wrong there, but
I'm just worried about our home form. Just worried about our home form, and that's what needs to fix up at the moment. If we can get it right at home, we can do really well this year. Away from home, like I've said, we look good. We look good away from home. At home, though, we just look dodgy. I don't know why.
Well, that's Villa, Chelsea, Man United, and Copenhagen in the next 7 are at home. So 4 of those
in the cup, Champions League and Carabao, we've done all right at home. And just the league games are the ones where we look a bit suspect.
Yeah.
I've got the fixtures on the screen there, Sab. You want to bring up just so people have a reference point what we're talking about. So Aston Villa tomorrow on Sunday, and then after that. What do you guys think about Monaco? Do you think we can go to Monaco and get a result? They seem to be a team that's up and down all the time at the moment.
Man City didn't.
I watched them play City.
City drew with them.
Yeah,
Man City were all over them. They were all over them. Yeah, but it's about taking your chances, right? You got to finish your dinner, and it's the old adage in football. You got to take your chances, and if you don't, it'll come back to bite you, and that's what happened against Man City. But they do have threats, They do have threats.
Man United at home. To be honest, Man United at home, I think we can beat them.
Yeah, for sure.
I think we can beat them.
Look, I'm with Stel. It's about arresting our home form. It's our weak. It's our Achilles heel right now, and it should be our strength, not our Achilles heel. No one's scared to come to White Hart Lane or to the Tottenham Stadium. No one. Yeah. They relish it, and there lies the problem. We saw last season, with the likes of Ipswich, resting players and, coming to the stadium and beating us.
Do you think it's really important, Johnny? Sorry, mate. Do you think it's really important? Like, if we can go and get 3 points against Monaco, if we can, it's not an easy feat, but if we can do it, and then obviously this is the Copenhagen game split between Chelsea and United is a tough one, right? Because you want to go full strength again. You can't drop, you can't rest players, and it's so you got the Newcastle game where you want to. I mean, I don't know. Maybe the argument is at some point you're going to have to sacrifice possibly something or rotate somewhere, but you probably want to go full strength against Chelsea and United, and so you can hope that even your B team have got enough to beat Copenhagen. But then in a world where you're sitting pretty. If you've beaten Monaco and beaten Copenhagen, then you can 100% go full strength against Arsenal and then not worry so much against PSG. You can sort of take your medicine against PSG because you've needed to go full strength for these 2 games here, right? For the Tottenham United game and the Arsenal game. Like there's going to have to be some sort of squad rotation somewhere. But I would imagine that PSG against Tottenham, it's going to be difficult whichever team you put out. So do you hope? Yeah,
but Sean, there's a 2-week break between United and Arsenal.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, I didn't. Of course,
but still, you've got 2 massive games back to back, and look, my biggest worry is when we meet.
But this goes back to what we said at the start of the season. Have we got a squad that can compete on all 4 fronts? And I said no. And Frank's going to have to, which is why I said Frank. If Frank wants to have a good season, he's going to have to compromise some competitions. There's no choice, because if he tries and goes full strength in all these games, we're going to get into trouble. We can't do it.
I think he knows that. My biggest problem when we go to play Monaco is will Eric Dyer try and confuse us with his French accent? We've heard his German accent. He's doing a Steve McLaren. He's doing a Steve McLaren. Did anyone see the Steve McLaren video when he joined?
It's difficult. It's difficult playing in Amsterdam. It's a hard place to play.
And then when he went to Jamaica, he tried to do a Jamaican accent, and we got Eric Dyer with his German accent.
Don't forget Joey Barton. He had a little go at the French accent, didn't he? If you remember.
Well, and now we can see Eric Dyer suddenly's gone full on French. He's gone full on French. He's only been there a few games, and he's already full on French.
I'll tell you what.
Listen to him when he speaks.
I'll tell you what. For everyone, like people saying, loads of people in the chat saying, "Oh, we should go to beat Monaco easily." I watched Monaco against City. While City had all the ball, which is Man City's MO, right? That's the way Man City play. Monaco looked very dangerous. They looked really dangerous, and they could have had a few more goals, Monaco. So, listen, I think that's the sort of game that, if you come away from there with a draw, I don't think that's... I think the problem I have at the moment, guys, is
have fans forgotten about Bodo away?
Right. But no, this is my point. Because we've had a good start to the season now, any game you mention, people are going, yeah, that's 3 points. That's 3 points. We should beat them. And I have to keep reminding people, you're not just going to win every game. You are, Frank said it himself, didn't he? We will lose games. There will be games we lose. I just hope that if we lose a game, that we don't go into absolute meltdown unnecessarily over one defeat. Because we've seen this year, we are hard to beat. If we lose a game, we can bounce back from it. But we've got to stop thinking every game is going to be 3 points. I
think it's going to be a mix, Dan. I can see the next three, Villa, Monaco, Everton as draws. Newcastle will do well to get anything up there. Chelsea, I could see us getting a draw. And I can see us beating Copenhagen and United. So for me, it's going to be 4 draws, 2 wins, 1 defeat. And if we come out of it in 3 weeks' time,
4 wins, 2 draws, 1 defeat.
2 wins, 2 wins against Copenhagen and United, 4 draws, and a defeat at Newcastle. If we come out of it in the league, where are we now? 1-1. If we come out of it with a win and 3 draws in the league,
but that doesn't quite look as good though, Lubo. When the next 2 games you're probably saying we're going to lose as well, right? Which is Arsenal and PSG.
No, hang on. But in the Champions League, you've come out with a win and a draw, so you've got 8 points out of 12. So that's pretty good if you're looking to, over 8 games to get there or thereabouts the top 8. Definitely, you definitely built a foundation.
So you've got 3 draws in the Premier League.
I wouldn't be surprised. We can't expect. Some of the performances this season have been dogged and resilient, but not very good. And at some stage, teams are going to take advantage, and they're going to put some chances away.
Getting 3 points from 12, though, we're back in mid-table again. 3 points from 12 in those 4 games.
Do you know what this league table?
I disagree.
One win and 3 draws. 1 win and 3 draws.
He said 1 win and 3 draws.
Oh, sorry.
From the
1
next
win and 3
12,
draws.
right? We're on 14. That'll take us to 20. How many teams behind you are going to just win 3 or 4 in a row? It will keep you up there. I'm not saying I agree with Luke, but I think there will be a defeat. I hope this doesn't sound negative. I do think there will be a defeat in this next group of Premier League games. You're not going to just not lose games. I don't know when it will be. It will probably be the one we don't expect it to be, and we'll probably win the one we don't expect to win. But listen, I think if we can go in at the next international break, which is 4 more league games, is that right, Lubo? 4 games, league games. I think if we go into the next international break in that top 6, I think that'll be after 11 Premier League games. I think that's a fantastic return from the start of the season for me.
For me, the way I look at it, with the win and 3 draws, will be 1-5, drawn 5, lost 1, and to me that's fabulous. After what we saw last year, and taking into account we haven't got a complete first 11 because we're missing a 9 and 11. Frank's brand new. The whole thing's brand new. The system's brand new. The way we play.
No, I hear you. But I just think that you look at draws for me are just a giant nothing burger. I can't get it. Even if you get a point, you're terrible against Wolves, and then you get a goal late on. The other games we've drawn this season, you're sitting there. You look at the guy who got sacked from Rangers, right? He was only beaten once. I know it's Rangers and he should be top of the table, but he drew 6 games. I know he was terrible, Johnny. I'm not making the point about the quality of the team. I'm just saying he sat in 7th out of 10 teams or whatever it is, or 12 teams. But he hadn't lost very many times. And so a draw doesn't really help you. It might look as you haven't lost, but
he got embarrassed in Europe, mate. 5-0, 4-0. You got absolutely trounced.
The expectations in it, Johnny. Like Rangers should be top 2 in the Scottish League. Spurs right now, I don't think we have got one of the best 5 squads in the league for me. So listen, while draws aren't amazing, let's be brutally honest. We lost 22 games of football last year. We lost 22 games of football. And for anyone that supports Bolton or Huddersfield, by the way, in the 94th minute, Huddersfield were 1-0 up. In the 96th minute, Bolton have scored 2 goals. So Bolton have nicked a 2-1 away win with 2 goals in the 95th and 96th. What a game. Just thought I'd share that.
Yeah, that's why we love football, not lob. One of my favourite teams. What happened to them? Not lob. Whatever happened.
Do you know what? This league table, though, this league table is weird, though, because Man United have been awful this year. Like, they've been the laughing stock. Amorim out, disaster. They're only 4 points behind Spurs, and we're having a good season. It's just the league table doesn't.
Exactly. Yeah, but this is the thing again.
It's a weird season at the moment. It's an odd one.
When we're saying they've been the laughing stock, I think that's only because it carries on from last year. If you actually look at Man United, haven't they won like 3 of their last 4 Premier League games or something like that? Like I'm pretty sure 3 of 5.
They lost to Grimsby in the cup.
No. I know, but my point is, if you actually look at them in the form table of the Premier League, they're actually one of the better teams. I think it's because every form is
drawn 1, lost 1, lost 1. So they're very up and down. But they are very up and down. That's the point.
They're only 4 points behind us. It's like, how is that possible? And what are we, 3rd or 4th?
Do you think anyone in this league has been amazing so far?
No.
I think other than Arsenal, sorry. Other than Arsenal,
head and shoulders.
A unit. Arsenal look the most complete team for me.
They're going to win the bloody league, aren't they?
I don't look at anyone else.
I don't very good.
I don't look at anyone else right now and go, oh my God, they're absolutely amazing. They're running away with it. Yeah, I think it's going to be a very close league. And that's why I'm not going to lose my mind every time we lose a game, because I think that I can't see anybody else just winning.
Do you know what? I'm not writing off Man City winning the league this year, actually.
I've tipped them to win the league. I've got Man City to win the league.
Rodri was a massive blow to that, I'm afraid.
He's
Rodri
back.
Going out again.
Isn't he?
Well, no, he went off with a hamstring injury.
But they said it with precaution, didn't they? They said that he's going to be all right.
I don't know. He was holding that hamstring. You don't normally grip your hamstring like that.
Arsenal have got the best squad. They've got the best squad.
Yeah, for sure.
They've got 2 teams. They've got 2 great teams.
City have got the result of the hearing for the 115 charges coming. So
what's that? A £2 million fine?
Oh, Lubo, when a fan's going to realise nothing's going to happen to Man, I don't know why we're worried about that still.
Content's got a content, Sav. Content's got a content. I put out a video about that story every single day on Sean Butler TV. Smash it, subscribe, by the way.
Guys, do we not think that Everton and Forest had points deducted, didn't they? So surely with precedent, with many more offences than Everton and Forest were charged with, surely there's going to be some sort of points deduction. Otherwise,
what's going to happen? Hang on a minute, Lubo. What do you think is going to happen? First of all, we've been waiting that long. They've been waiting as long as we're waiting for the second coming of bloody Jesus, right? At the end of the day, right, what is going to happen if they deduct him the points, right? Every single club, Sean and I have discussed it, right? Every single club is going to sue him. We're going to sue you for the 100 million that we would have made if we'd been in the Champions League. This club, that club. It's going to run into hundreds and hundreds of millions of pounds of compensation.
That's what I think. That's part of the reason why they'll get away with it, because there'll be a conversation between the 3 adjudicators that will say, "Look, if we find them guilty here, every club, not just the clubs that finish second or the runners-up in tournaments, every club can make an argument that this reality of timeline would have been different had you not done what you've done." And so they'll go, that we can't have that. The reputation of the Premier League will be absolutely destroyed. So let's just let them off.
Right, Sean, did we not have a situation 10, 12, 15 years ago when West Ham won at Old Trafford on the last game of the season, and Tevez and Mascherano were playing and there was a problem with the signing there, and Sheffield United went down because of it, and they were threatening all sorts, and nothing ever happened, did it?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
That might be.
No, but you can. I've just seen so many people writing articles like, if Man City are guilty, Liverpool is the highlight. Is the name of the title. Plus, others are going to sue Manchester City. And I'm like, it's not just Liverpool that are victims. It's not just the team that came second. Every team could sit there and say, and by the way, exactly the same thing exists with Chelsea with their 74 charges. If they're guilty, then everybody has a case. Not just the teams that went down, but the teams that didn't go down, because you don't know what would have happened had they not signed the players that they shouldn't have signed. Those players would have gone somewhere else, and then those teams wouldn't have signed those players, or the players that they did sign. It's an entirely new timeline of reality. So it's not just the teams that didn't make the Champions League that would have done. It's everybody. And you could then extrapolate it down to the Championship. And
you may as well not, but then you may as well not. But Sean, you may as well not have rules then, because then there's no deterrent, is there?
Let me ask you
You're finally talking my language, bro. For the last 3 years, I've been telling you the biggest problem in football is not Daniel Levy. It's the inability to create an
what have you done? Lubo.
Hang on, let me move away from that. Let me bring it back.
Sean, you're eating out now, mate.
No. Listen, let's move away from the Levy Enid thing. Can I just ask, though, right? As sitting here down the line, as just a football fan, the thing is, Lubo, when you talk about it like many others do, as though Man City are 100% guilty on everything. This is the problem. Every football fan talks as though they know the ins and outs of Man City's case. Now, whether or not they're guilty or not,
I'm not a lawyer.
Hang on. Let me ask a bloody question. It's the way this works. Let me ask the question, right? Now, whether they're guilty or not for something, right? Everyone's just presumed they are guilty because it makes them feel better about everything that they've won and the money they've spent. But the problem is, are the FA going to throw the book at Man City? Because the ramifications to doing that are huge. I'm not saying it's right, but the ramifications and the knock-on effects will cause the FA.
Never ending.
It will cause the FA.
Go on, Sal, sorry.
It will cause the FA so much noise, abuse, time. I don't think they want it. I really don't think they'll want it. Premier League, FA, whoever it is.
But if you're going to hold the integrity of the game, then they must. If they don't, then it becomes carte blanche to every club to do whatever they want, and they will. Club, because it will set a precedent either way. If they don't throw the book at City, assuming they're guilty, then every other club's going to say, right, well, we're going to do it because you can't throw the book at us. Otherwise, it's discrimination because you didn't do it to them. But if they throw the book at...
That's what they've been doing. That's what I've been saying for the last 3 years. Chelsea...
I've heard what you've been saying.
...than a bag of hula hoops. What are we doing here? It's madness.
Sean, I know what you've been saying, but we can play by those rules. We choose not to.
Yeah, but do you want
we choose not to?
Do you want the game to just degrade into the team with the deepest pockets and that no?
It already has. I know it has.
But do you
that's the point.
No, but like so are we saying just get rid of the rules entirely and then just everyone hope that we get the PIF of some other country that's got more money?
No, I'm not saying we should do that. I'm all for the rules, but the point is, if the rules aren't going to be enforced, which they haven't, or there's loopholes around them, then we have to play that game. Otherwise, we're forever going to be the bridesmaid, never the bride again.
Do you know what would be really interesting? Right, you know this whole bring it back to Tottenham specifically. And Lubo's new favourite family, the Enoch, the Lewis family. Right. So obviously Daniel Levy was the poster boy for PSR and FFP. He's now gone in November. And there's a video coming out about this. Shameless plug again from Sean Butler TV. Go and check it out. Subscribe, hit the likes. They're going to in November the and football, the channel that got me name. Sorry. Just do it quickly. In November, the Premier League clubs are about to vote on the anchoring rule. It's coming up. The vote's coming up in 3 weeks. I think it's happening during the international break.
What's the anchoring rule?
The anchoring rule essentially is one where, alongside PSR and FFP, they're going to pivot towards the UEFA rules in primarily, but there'll be an 85% threshold. But on top of that, 85% threshold of your revenue spend. On top of that, the lowest revenue team in the Premier League there'll be a 5 times multiplier on that number. And then every single club, no matter what revenue they generate, won't be able to spend any more than 5 times the multiplier. So Manchester United, so Jim Ratcliffe, just to give you an example. So if, let's say Burnley came back up, let's say Sheffield United came back up or whatever, and they had a revenue of 100 million quid, then regardless whether or not Manchester City and United and Tottenham earn £1 billion in revenue, they won't be able to spend any more than 500 million. So the anchoring rule essentially only limits further the teams at the very top. And so Jim Ratcliffe's massively against it. Obviously, City are massively against it. Aston Villa, on a previous iteration of this, voted against it. Chelsea abstained. And I think Nottingham Forest also voted against it, if I'm not mistaken. But it's that all you need 16 votes. No, you need 14 votes in favour. 14 votes in favour for it to go through. But most teams are probably going to...
They won't get that. They won't get it. They won't get the vote.
They might do, because on the anchoring rule, the vast majority of the teams are not going to be anywhere near 5 times the anchor of whoever the bottom team coming up is. And so it's an artificial way of holding back the teams that have obscene revenue. And it might come through. And if it does, it's going to put a real block on teams like Manchester City being able to do what they do. So it'll be fascinating to see how that works. But just the last thing I'll say before, I hand over. Lubo, just one second, last sentence, Lubo. Your new favourite group, they got rid of Daniel Levy, and there's sort of murmurings going around that actually Lewis and Vivian are not as in favour of the PSR and the FFP thing. Vivian and Charlie, as Daniel Levy was. So maybe they're going to be one of the teams that vote against, because they've now got all this ambition that we're yet to see come into maturity.
Absolutely. Interestingly enough, there was a piece. It's funny, actually. It's very current. I picked up the Daily Mail this morning. Start off on the back page, and it's all about the anchoring, and it's all about the wage cap. And they're saying that if this comes through, there will be, in effect, a wage cap for the top clubs, and the top players will not come to the Premier League. They'll go abroad, and they'll play with the top clubs in Europe who don't have a wage cap. So what you're doing in effect is a bit like what they did in rugby, where there's wage caps here but not in France, and the rugby players go to France, give up the chance of playing for England because they can earn the big money, like Farrell did.
That argument only satisfies Manchester City, right? Because there's no teams in Europe that have higher, or very few. There's like Real Madrid, Barcelona, and I think PSG are the only teams in Europe, I think, I'm not sure about this, that have higher wage bills than like 8 or 9 of the top teams in the Premier League. Like even you
know what? I don't think you can reverse what's happened. I think there's so much money involved. Investors are, we're dealing with billionaire owners nowadays. The game's gone, right? The game that we know is gone. I think either you join them or you're out.
The government's here to destroy it, unfortunately, still. The corrupt government, we got to end now, but the corrupt government is going to destroy it all. Guys, you're all watching this show, thousands, hundreds of you, and you never hit the subscribe button. It's free. Hit the button. Over to you, Sava.
Yeah, listen, we're going to end there. Before we do, big up to Bourbon Buzzard with a super sticker. Always appreciate you, my friend. Thank you very much. I really, really do appreciate that. And Chop Cheese, who has managed to put in a super chat without talking about farting. So that's an achievement in itself. He said he was at the 2-0 loss to Villa under Conte at home. Can't remember that specific one, but hey, we have lost a lot of games at home in the years, haven't we? But big up to you, Chop Cheese. Really appreciate you. Guys, great show. The international break is now over. Next week, next week's shows will be much, much more energetic, right? Because we'll have off the back of the Villa game, and then we'll have off the back of the Monaco game. So, guys, join us next week. Please smash the like button if you haven't already. Big up to Andy Lester, who's putting a super sticker in the last minute. It's like a diving header in the 97th minute, Andy Lester, to get the winner there. Big up to you. Big up to Bolton. Big up to Bolton for coming 1-0 from 1-0 down. I've sent you all over to Deji. If you get over there, just say Spurs 5 raid. He's got an Aston Villa fan on, I believe. We've got 28 seconds to finish this show. Much love. Thank you to everyone, even the trolls. We love you all. Take care. And as always, come on, you Spurs.
You Spurs.